You're listening to Marketing Mavens on Good Morning Delhi with Sarthak.
And we can't thank you enough for doing that, because what we're trying to see is, trying to see if your fingertips tingle as much as ours do when we talk about the story behind something iconic. I mean, you know how outdoor billboards are getting more and more iconic. They're going viral with those 3D moving billboards, etc. So we thought that'd be a nice thing to talk about with brand culture expert Hari Krishnan, who steps into our studio from time to time and then talks some very wonderful, he serves some wonderful food for thought and recipes that stay with us for a long time. Hari, thank you very much for joining us.
It's my pleasure, Sarthak.
Outdoor, I've always looked at an outdoor and wondered, how does it happen? Is it, is the whole mechanism of doing that similar to, say, a print ad or a TV ad? What's the mechanics? What's the principles?
It's a bit of the then and now, because what used to happen many years ago has considerably changed now. But the fundamental mechanics of outdoor used to be that how many people are passing by the street and how many people are actually going to get to see this outdoor. And when we started when we started working, outdoor was more about, hey, I should take this road because it has so much traffic or so many people or so much exposure.
Sure.
And those were the basic principles. Then of course there were availability of what is really there for you. And so it was constrained in many ways, and that's why it became more expensive.
And what about the creatives, Hari?
It used to be painted at one point of time.
Absolutely.
In fact, I'd like to make a small mention here. Back in 95 when Delhi started its cell phone service.
Yeah.
I had in fact commissioned the late Ajit Nainan, who's a very famous cartoonist. He just recently passed away.
Yes.
And he did a series of cartoons on funny mobile phone users, which we'd done. So it was a very interesting canvas for many things.
And it was a large canvas, and now of course it still remains a novelty where a painted billboard, a by hand painted billboard becomes a bit of a PR story as well.
It does. And as we explore this subject further, we'll see how this whole concept of an outdoor, which was originally fixed to a location and originally painted and for you to just fleet by, has become more enduring.
And of course also how technology has insinuated itself into something that was completely analog and 2D, or maybe 3D, as some people would stick cars onto billboards and their products would be stuck in
we see that from time to time on the internet. A lot of it goes viral.
Absolutely.
So yes,
initially it was, as you so rightly pointed out, it was about
low tech, very low tech.
And high intensity as far as streets that are more populated, etc. But now technology seems to have seems to be playing an increasingly larger part. There are those 3D hoardings with the visuals
which give you an experience.
So
if you see a lot of stuff that happens in Times Square, New York, or for that matter, Gangnam in Seoul, it all goes viral. You don't have to be there to experience it, and you see some amazing work that kind of is awe-inspiring, and it just captures you in the moment. So outdoor becomes a very large canvas to give you a spectacular experience.
Sure.
So it's not just about to remind you whether you should have that cup of soup on a wintry evening, but it's actually to stand there and feel the emotion of what that brand is trying to send across to you.
Absolutely. And I think also a bit of a spike, irrespective of geographical boundaries, where somebody looks at it, somebody clicks a photograph or makes a video.
But that's what I find most remarkable now, is that, and when we talk to clients about outdoor, it's not just about where this hoarding is, or it's about the whole world watching say two brands fight with each other. We just saw that recently between Blinkit and Zomato. God knows where those two hoardings were, and they were real, but the whole world was discussing it, because it then becomes an iconic spot on which a conversation is happening.
There's also another question that I want to ask. We do know that advertising agencies sometimes make ads only for awards, where they play it once or twice, and then it's into the award season. Does that happen with out of home as well, with outdoors as well?
I'm letting out a secret here, but it's one of the simpler ways of getting your entry in, because and it's also authentic, because you need to put up something somewhere. This is a country where people just stand around even even an excavator.
Yeah.
So it gets
JCB
seen.
Of course.
It gets seen, and yes, it outdoor does feature in a whole lot of, and it's also a huge canvas for creativity, as we will further explore.
Absolutely.
That yes, outdoor does give every creative person a field day or a juicy opportunity to do something very, very innovative and imaginative.
Some people actually take the concept of an outdoor and turn it on its head a little, isn't it, Hari?
Yeah, there are some remarkable examples, and I just like to tell you that a lot of us, when we walk into these fancy stores on High Street, whether we are talking Colaba or Connaught Place, and we often wonder, how is this brand paying so much rent for such a prime space for just put out, say, 20 pairs of shoes, because no one even buys there. We all know that everyone now shops
Online. Absolutely.
Buys online. But I guess what companies have done is that they've turned their outdoor budgets into a store budget. Actually, what you do is when you walk into a high street Nike or an Adidas showroom, you're walking into an outdoor site.
That's right.
And that's how the company views it, and you get to experience the brand and the product.
Yeah.
And then of course people have the choice of going out and buying it
course.
online.
Or they could buy it there. I mean, imagine that when you're walking into a very fancy store at a very fancy location, you're literally walking into an outdoor
billboard.
hoarding where it becomes so interactive that you can touch the product and buy it if you like. That's a perspective that that made me go, whoa, that's food for thought. There's others as well.
That's others, and I guess if you think beyond advertising, for what a brand can leverage its status and its position to connect with people, connect with consumers. It's about Apple. If you look at iPhone, shot on an iPhone is such a phenomenal success.
Absolutely.
What they did was, of course, they had thousands of phonographers around the world who were sending their entries, and they used all their prime outdoor locations as an art gallery.
Absolutely.
And you would just see people's work out up there. You won't see the phone up there.
Yeah.
I guess so. Therefore, using an outdoor site as a canvas for art and culture and experiences
Absolutely.
is the second large
And by reflection, making your product so much more than just something that you hold or buy. It
or
becomes
use.
a cultural phenomenon.
Yes,
Absolutely.
So like I always keep saying, brands and culture
Yeah.
is exactly that.
Absolutely.
And the third thing is, of course, when a certain outdoor site becomes viral. We talked about the whole infamous or famous Blinkit versus Zomato thing, which is about saying the outdoor really went beyond its own physical geography and entered conversation from people across the country.
Absolutely.
And it didn't really matter where it was.
Yeah.
I
That's
guess.
what British Airways did, didn't it?
And that British Airways a few years ago did this wonderful connected outdoor, which was about every time a British Airways flight would pass by, there was a little boy who would stand up and point his finger, because they had used technology to smartly give people again an experience and not just remind them to buy the product.
And leverage emotion, because every one of us, no matter where we were, when we were little kids, if there was a plane flying by, we would have to point, oh, plane.
At age 5, at age 35, at age 55 is the same thing.
Yeah, the inner child will always point, and that's why we thought we'd point you to the direction of thought. And Hari, social media time and listicle time. So, talking of outdoors, what are those 3 points that you want to underline?
I guess the first thing I would emphasize is that outdoor has reached a point where you just can't pin it to a certain geography. So go beyond geography. Make whatever you're doing at one site is going to be seen not just by the people who pass by, but if it's good, it's going to get viral. People are going to see it across all cities. So treat it as a canvas for your creativity, and make sure that the messaging is something that everyone will be interested in, not just the people in that geography. The second thing is use technology. We've seen the case of British Airways. We've seen so many wonderful products popping out and giving you experiences. I guess the whole thing is about giving consumers an experience of a brand, which before he buys, as to how awe-inspiring it can be. and I guess outdoor has the potential to do that
For sure.
in a very larger than life kind of way.
Sure.
Because we live in the era of smartphones. Every other thing is seen in a itsy bitsy smartphone screen,
Yeah.
and therefore outdoor gives you that once in a day opportunity for you to overwhelm the consumer.
Sure.
And the third is, of course, keep it really simple. We used to have outdoor principles like not more than 3 words of copy,
I see.
and maybe just use 2 colors, which was, of course, I'm talking about many years
Of
ago.
course.
But then the principle stays that if you keep it simple, then the impact is much greater.
Absolutely. The elegance of simplicity, we can't underline it enough. And that's something that can, of course, come off the billboard and into our lives as well. So if you'd like to treat like that, why not? And if you want to say anything to us, please feel free. Sarthak from Radio, my Instagram ID, flashback_Gordon, Hari's. As usual, Hari, wonderful conversation with much recipe to cook thought with. So thank you very much.
Thank
for
you
that.
very much, Sarthak.
So that's what Marketing Mavens is all about. We're taking a break, coming right back. You stay, okay?